This is an ancient Indian dessert, which is now in the country called India. And this dessert is called Ladoo. And Nepalese people eat this, and it's common around Hinduism that is in Nepal as well, quite prevalent in Nepal. So they use this for like temples and stuff, but this is actually like a dessert. And what this laddu reminds me of is the atoms that they talk about in Buddhism in Hinayana. So this laddu is actually made up of like these tiny grains. So there are like so many tiny dots, like circular dots like that. And it's basically made from these tiny circular dots. So that reminds me of the atom, because in Nepalese we have a specific food to do with a very important spiritual concept. So does the Tibetans have a specific dessert that has to do with a specific spiritual concept, and you can decode that from Buddhism. And I was eating laddu recently. I was craving laddu, and I brought some really nice ones. And then I just like realized that, hang on, these laddus are made of these little circular things, and it's like the Hinayana atom concept that I'm learning. It reminds me of that. And a lot of the spiritual cultures, ancient spiritual cultures, have this association with food, and I'm sure other cultures would have the same. But when I'm looking at everything through the Buddhism lens, I can decode things like this. Even Buddha, when he achieved his enlightenment, before he achieved his enlightenment, he had the dessert called kheer that is prevalent in India, and in Nepal you'll find the same dessert, and I think some European countries have that kheer as well. But kheer is specific to like our culture. Our cultures, the Indian culture, Nepalese culture, have kheer as their dessert, and this is specifically to do with the Indian culture, the laddu. This is not traditionally Nepalese, but kheer can be classified as traditional Nepalese. And I'll show you two more other food items that has to do with the spiritual concepts and how it relates to that, and it helps me decode and understand some things. So this is your Hinayana atomic laddu. It captures that very nicely, and it's a way for our Father, our Creator, to teach us. It's like, this is what atoms are, because it's hard for us to understand. So our Father teaches us through these amazing, delicious food, that we can have them as dessert, we can learn from them, we can cook them, and we can eat them. And that's like a very interactive way to learn difficult concepts to understand, such as sunyata is very difficult to understand. Similarly, atoms would be very difficult to understand for the ancient people, but Father has like shown them through this laddu. So it's like you can see these round circles, they are atoms, and it becomes this whole dessert, becomes this whole laddu dessert. It also reminds me of when the baby are created in the belly, they go through the same process as well.
Seder means order and is also the name of the ritual meal eaten during the Jewish holiday Passover. Passover celebrates the Jewish people's escape from slavery in Egypt as told in Exodus. The Seder plate is the meal's centerpiece, and each item holds symbolic meaning. Zeroah. The shank bone represents the lamb sacrificed at the Temple of Jerusalem during celebration. Beit Sah. An egg also represents the Passover sacrifice, as well as the cycle of life. Charoset. This paste, made of apples, nuts, and wine, resembles the bricks and mortar the Jewish slaves were forced to make. Maror. A bitter herb, usually horseradish, represents the bitterness of slavery in Egypt. Karpas. A leafy vegetable is dipped in salt water to represent the tears of the Jewish people. Chazeret. Another bitter herb, eaten with charoset and matzah.